All right, folks, here we are. It is April 1st. Of course, that means we have to check in on how the special election in Florida is going, and I wish I had better news, but it appears that Randy Fine, despite having a tiny fraction of what Josh Weil was able to raise, and despite promising polls both internal to the Democratic Party and external and independent, having them close, Josh Weil does not appear to be able to pull it out. It is Florida. It is a district where registered Republicans outnumber Democrats by 2-1. That being said, understand that Mike Waltz won this district a handful of months ago. And Mike Waltz won this district by over 30 points. Okay? What Josh Weil, though he lost, he narrowed that gap from 30 points to 14 points. So he narrowed the field by 16%. That is still, despite the fact that he lost, some pants-shitting grounds for Republicans. It is a defeat, don't get me wrong, but like a 16-point swing in the course of 2.5 months at the beginning of a new administration, that is insane. Like understand that anything less than a 30-point blowout is a win for Democrats. Yeah, a near 16-point swing in like the heart of Republican territory. Exactly. You get it very nice. The knife he has stuck. You get it. And Josh Weil could still win in 2026 if there are still elections. I do think there will still be elections in 2026. I think if he continues to organize, I think that he can maybe pull that out, which is crazy. But like, yeah, this was a special election. This race was organized in like a month and a half, you know? Like, this is crazy. I didn't even talk about this race that much until polling came out a week and a half ago. Okay? Is their support collapsing that fast? Yeah. You can either read it as their support collapsing that fast or Democrats being that level of enraged, you know? And I do think that Weil is going to keep running. At this point, like, he's raised enough money that I think he can just keep his campaign alive for the next year and a half until the 2026 election, you know? So understand this is a win, even though it's not, like, we didn't win the battle, but this is a win for the war, if that makes sense. How do things look for Susan Crawford? Right now, it is remarkably close. However, only 13% of the votes have been counted. Polls closed in the Wisconsin race about 29 minutes ago. So right now, Susan Crawford is up 51.3% to Brad Schimmel's 48.7%. It is going to be a nail biter, folks. It is going to be close as hell in Wisconsin. Keep in mind, folks, that prior to the ongoing shit show of the last 2.5 months, Donald Trump, like, only won Wisconsin by, like, 0.8%. Less than 1% he won Wisconsin. So if we see a similar swing, Susan Crawford should win this despite Elon Musk or maybe even because of Elon Musk going to Wisconsin. Also, yeah, just as an FYI, I am going to throw this out there. Randy Fine is going to suck. You guys are going to hate him. He is going to be insufferable. Okay? Like, he's really fucking gross. Do you know how gross you have to be reviled by the Republican Party in Florida? Have any of you ever like stopped to like think about that possibility? Like how nasty ass of a person you have to be? The reason Randy Fine raised so little money in Florida is because even the Republicans in Florida hate his guts. So that's not great. And it's going to suck to see him in the House. He's going to give speeches, and it's going to be disgusting. Which, you know, maybe that will give more fuel to Josh Wheel in 2026. The state that embraced Matt Gaetz hates this guy? Yep. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. We have another update here. Susan Crawford pulling ahead by another few percentage points. She's now up 54%, 54.8% to 45.2%. That's positive. Honestly, if the 16-point swing holds true from Florida to Wisconsin, which, you know, it may or may not, we'll see. If that plays out here, like Susan Crawford should win this pretty handily. So did Elon buy his election? I mean, Elon, I think there was like a last minute infusion of cash into the Randy Fine election, but by all accounts, Josh Wheel outraised Randy Fine by like 9-1 at least. But the real place where Elon put a lot of his money was in Wisconsin. So if they lose Wisconsin, that's going to get a lot of Republicans thinking about, hey, even Elon money isn't going to guarantee me a win in my primary, you know? Oh boy, Kent County, Michigan has their first measles case in 10 years. Yeah, the measles outbreak, folks, it's not a joke. Don't take it lightly. It is one of the most infectious diseases. If if it literally, like, if you exhale and you are infected with measles just like stays suspended in the air for like 2 hours. It is real bad. Okay? Way too early to speculate, but even Republican slanted polls had her leading above the margin of error. I haven't seen any polling for Susan Crawford, but like Brad Schimmel is just such a terrible candidate. You know, he talked about like how proud he was of mentally abusing his 8-year-old daughter. He like proudly talked about not testing rape kits. Like it he's really truly disgusting. He doesn't believe women are competent enough to have like control over their affairs. Like he's real fucking gross. He wants to re-gerrymander the state. He wants to like end abortion rights. It's awful. It's awful. I had measles as a child. My mom had scheduled a vaccine the next week, but it was too late. Ugh, I'm sorry. Did you see the Florida trans girl that got arrested? No, I did not. Arrested for using the women's restroom in Florida on March 19th and charged with trespassing and given potentially up to 60 days in jail. Well, that sucks. After washing her hands in the bathroom. Telling you, if you're a trans person, like get out of some of these places if you can. It sucks. When I was 5, my neighbor friend died from measles. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Ashley. She did it on purpose, by the way. Well, that's brave as hell. Fuck. Maybe by the time we get through all of this, like, things will be a bit better. We're seeing some positive movement in the vote tallies for Susan Crawford, by the way. She is now up by 17 points, oddly enough. Yeah, honestly, 28% of the votes in, 17 points up. Let's go. Still way too early? Obviously, it's still way too early. Come on. But I know you guys are going to keep on my case every single time it updates, so I'm giving you the updates before you get on my case. Well, Josh Wheel isn't winning tonight, but it would have been cool if she and Josh Wheel had won. Cis guy here, I'll proudly, loudly scream for your rights, trans peeps. Apes together strong? Hell yeah. Shimp together even stronger than apes. Thank you for covering another day in hell.
Thank you for covering another day in hell.
Sterling Thomas, thank you for the $5 super chat. And you know, I actually am feeling pretty okay about today. Oh my god, why are you asking me if I've seen enough and I'm gonna declare Susan Crawford the winner? I'm not declaring anyone the winner until it gets to, like, 60% at least. But even then, like, I'm pretty conservative when I call winners in races. I'd wait until 90% of the vote in. What was the gap in the Florida election? About 16%. So, or sorry, 14%. So Josh Wheel, in the span of like a month and a half, was able to close a 30-point gap by 16 points. That's actually it's actually a big win. At least we fought. We fought in a way that's going to scare the shit out of Republicans. As a Floridian, today doesn't feel great. Just keep in mind, Josh Wheel raised enough money that he's probably going to run again in 2026, and I think he might be able to pull it out that time. Florida was hard to phone bank for. 75% of those who were willing to talk after hearing the purpose of the call were not interested in voting. Interesting. Yeah, cutting a 30-point margin in more than half is really fucking good. It was 16 points of movement, guys. Most elections are far below a 16-point swing. If that Florida race is at all indicative of where things are going to be in 2026, like, we're going to see like a fucking like blue wedding take place. Okay? For all of you who are young, that was a reference to the ancient television show Game of Thrones. 35% of the votes in, still maintaining that 17-point lead. Love to see it. Love to see it, Susan. Oh man, Simric, don't even say that. Don't even type that into chat. The DNC could have a House and Senate 2/3 majority. Don't stop. Don't jinx it. Ancient, I guess I'm old. Well, just real quick, Ancient, guess I'm old, lol. The episode of the Red Wedding episode of Game of Thrones came out in 2013, chums. So, yeah, it's 12 years old. People who were 6 when it came out can vote now. Oh my god, yeah. You feel that? You feel that panic? That's existential anguish, folks. Spoilers. The time knife, it burns. We could see a purple Florida in a year's time if the numbers are this wild. A Florida, perhaps. You know what? I will stand for Florida. Okay? If we flip Florida, if we turn, well, I guess would it be, since Florida's red, would we call it Florida? Florida? I don't like that. That is not pleasant on the tongue. Red wedding sounds like a fun event.
I identify as vintage, not ancient.
There we go. That's the kind of recontextualization I like to see in my chat. All I'm saying is that I will lose my shit if they start playing Reigns of Castamere on the floor of the Senate. Honestly, that'd be such a goddamn flex. Are we going to win Wisconsin? I don't know. Only 36% of the vote in, but with 36% of the vote, Susan Crawford is up by 17 points. And that's good, because there are over 800,000 votes tallied already. Game of Thrones kids can vote. Oh, I'm sorry, Mithril Mist. Not gonna lie, I had a crisis of fearing mortality after reading some article yesterday on what happens to your body at certain ages. I'm not gonna lie, I felt pretty good about my aging process when I saw that my grandma, who's almost 100 years old, was still petering around and like scrappy. I like that. Fun fact, she was 38 years old when the movie Mary Poppins was in theaters. Yeah, doesn't that make you go, holy fuck? Time. What a world, huh? Excuse me, I'm not old. I'm an artifact. Put me in a glass box and have the nerds study me. Kinky. I love that movie. Mary Poppins is great. I'm in shock right now, an actual W. I mean, I feel like I need to be more clear. Josh Wheel closing the gap, like moving a race that was won by 30 points down to a 14-point victory, moving it by 16 points in like a district that is 2-1 Republican to Democrat. That is a win. We did not win the seat, but that is a huge indicator of where things are going in this country. And for every Republican that is up for re-election in 2026, they're starting to shit their pants. What they're doing tonight is they're looking at these races and they're going, maybe I need to break with Donald Trump. Because it does not matter if Elon Musk primaries them for stepping out of line, if they know that even if they win their primary, they aren't going to be able to win the general. That's the whole thing. The whole point of tonight, the whole real goal of tonight, is to rattle Republicans into, essentially torpedoing some of the worst impulses of the Trump administration. Some of the things we could see if that actually takes place is Congress reasserting its control over the tariff mechanism. Some of you might not have noticed this, but basically Republicans in Congress gave Donald Trump the ability to just set tariffs. They're the ones that allow him to do all this insane tariff shit. They can take that power back. So these are some of the things, like it actually has material impact here if we can get Republicans to defect. Do you think Trump should, I don't know, get your Discord and give you a call? That'd be wacky if he called again about Wisconsin. Indeed it would. Vontux, thank you for the $5 super chat.
Wheel got as far as he did with little DNC support too. Imagine if they'd blitzed him with funding.
Well, and that's the thing. Wheel got, I believe, like $9 or $10 million into his campaign. That might be enough money for him to keep the campaign going until like the 2026 midterm election season starts, which should be like shortly into like this coming year, like just like 9 months away, really. And like, if that's the case, the DNC and Ken Martin in particular are probably going to be interested in putting money into that race to see if they can actually break that district. That would be a huge win. You know? Additionally, we got just a little update here. 42% of the votes are now in. Crawford is up by 15 points. It's closed a little bit, but we're nearing 1 million votes so far tallied, and she's maintaining that lead pretty good. If Crawford wins tonight, Elon might step down from Doge. Oh, don't give me hope like that. Don't just throw that out there. Dave Wasserman called Crawford the winner, waiting for others. Yeah, I would wait until at least 60% of the vote is in. But this is a very good sign. The emails I get from the DNC do speak of organizing year-round. That is part of Ken Martin's strat, is organizing year-round and in every county in the every district in the nation. That's kind of his approach, which is good. It's similar to what Ben Wickler's approach would have been. Do you think her winning will be a fatal blow to Elon? No, but it is something that does not help. It's not going to help his attempt to open Tesla dealerships in Wisconsin, for sure. It's not going to help his public image of being rejected by voters. He inserted himself pretty deeply into this Wisconsin race, and it might just be that it turns out that his involvement actively repulses Republicans. Because remember, Republicans do not have a loyalty to Elon Musk. They have a loyalty to Donald Trump. And that loyalty is not really that transferable, It does not work. In off-year elections, Donald Trump's personality and endorsements have not historically seemed to carry that much weight. So it is one of those things where the more Elon puts himself out there, the more hated he kind of becomes, right? So I'm hoping that between Elon kind of throwing himself into this race and losing, this could be another kind of Dave Chappelle moment for him, where he goes on his own personal mental spiral. Because after the Dave Chappelle incident, a wellness check had to be done on him because he was so upset people booed him. We could get another thing like that. It's also it is also the case that if we continue organizing with Tesla Takedown, it is clearly bothering him quite a bit. One of the ways that we know that is specifically this story from the Washington Post today, which is Musk repeatedly calls for government to unleash law enforcement on Doge targets and Tesla vandals. Yeah, repeatedly called Tuesday for authorities to go after anti-Tesla demonstrators and act with urgency when addressing cases of alleged fraud identified by the U.S. Doge service. I have a maniacal sense of urgency. So to me, when I see that terrible fraud has happened, I'm like, why haven't we arrested someone already? He said on Fox News, The Five, before citing a case in which he said a person stole 400,000 social security numbers at least, maybe more. He is I'm sorry, you do not have a maniacal sense of urgency unless you are really fucking worried that your house of cards is going to go down. Guys, he had to have one of his companies buy his other company. He had to have his AI company buy Twitter, And in order to do that, he had to personally value both companies at roughly double what their actual value is. And that was probably to pay off investors. That acquisition was probably a way of consolidating money in a way to pay off Saudi investors that helped him buy Twitter. Additionally, it is, frankly, I think that the ongoing rate of Tesla's decline and the fact that March 30th or 31st, the last day of March, was the end of quarter one, right? The first business quarter of 2025. And guys, he's clearly very shaken by whatever was talked about by the board. So I'm thinking he's pretty stressed because his entire wealth, and I've talked about it on stream before, his entire wealth is based on loans. These rich guys like Elon Musk, they do not sell their Tesla stock in order to have money. What they do is they take out loans based on that stock value. They get paid in stock. That's how they pay $0 in taxes. If the price of Tesla's stock keeps going down, if these international sales numbers keep going down, if BYD keeps outperforming Tesla in these foreign markets, and like people are starting to stop buying Teslas here, what's going to happen are loan calls where the bank goes, you have to sell your stock so you can pay us, because otherwise we don't think you're going to be able to pay us back. Not to mention that Vivian going on Hassan probably shook him too. I don't think that man gives a single shit about Vivian. I think he's a terrible father. I think that he really didn't like it being as public as it is, but I don't think he cares, you know? Like, he's publicly feuding with, like, Ashley St. James, or whatever her name is. Ashley St. Clair, maybe. Who's, like, his latest baby mama. And, like, she's talking about needing to sell her Tesla in order to, like, provide for her and the baby, and, like, constantly dunking on Elon. It's really, really, I don't think there's a good way out if people keep turning out in greater and greater numbers to protest. Yet again, folks, another update. We're at 46% of the vote in Wisconsin. Susan Crawford is up by 15 points. Looking really, really good. Yeah, I mean, Dragonfly, it looks kind of like the general overperformance in Florida is carrying over to Wisconsin, which is great to see kind of the parallels unfold. It shows that it's not just localized to like one district in Florida. It shows that it is applicable across the country. Has anyone else called it? Well, our very own Dragonfly has called it. I mean, I trust Dragonfly too, but I personally am not going to call it until it's like 50 or 60% in. DDHQ has called it? Oh, that's interesting. Decision Desk is usually pretty good. Take a look in a book. 45% called for Susan Crawford. Let's go, baby. Let's go. And that makes me feel real fucking good. Not gonna lie. We did it. Did Judge Crawford do better than Judge Janet? Yes. Yes, she did. The Judge Janet race was a lot closer, if my memory serves me. I am from Wisconsin, and I'm hopeful for once. Hey, you guys get to keep your abortion rights. You guys get to keep your, your ungerrymandered map. Guys, this is really key because part of the state of Wisconsin's long-term strategy, at least as far as the Democratic Party is concerned, they wanted to keep control of the state Supreme Court. and then retake control over the House and the House and the Senate in Wisconsin. So like that is now back on track. That plan. Because if Brad Schimmel had gotten onto the state Supreme Court, what would have happened is that he would have, along with the conservative majority, the new conservative majority, they would have re-gerrymandered Wisconsin. And when Wisconsin was gerrymandered under the Republicans for like the last decade, Democrats could win like 57 or 60% of the vote, and the state legislature would be 60% Republican. That's how gerrymandered it was. Did we flip the House? No, we did not flip the House seat. But we did shift a 30-point Republican majority or a Republican lead in that district to a 16-point. Well, we moved it 16 points, so now it's just a 14-point Republican majority. We shifted it by 16 goddamn points, and that seems to have also played out in Wisconsin.
I feel energized. Feel like people are still somewhat conscious with what is going on.
Somewhat conscious? Not exactly sure what you mean, Andrew S., but thank you for the $5 super chat. Showing your channel to my buddy Joey. Can we get a shout out? Hell yeah, Joey. You're cool as shit. They're really fighting over that last 0.01% Wisconsin, right? It's good news. It's been a good news day, guys. What can I say? It's exciting to see things not be shitty. Scott Walker was the worst. True. Did we gain any seats? I don't believe so, no. I feel like Edison when he first reached the 9th dimension. Huh. But Edison never reached the 9th dimension, you see. Just tuned in. Good news. Yeah, Cory Booker delayed Senate proceedings by 25 hours. Calling out Chuck Schumer. We've got Ruben Gallego standing up for VA workers, pledging to hold up every single Trump nominee in the Senate until the VA cuts are reversed. We've got Adam Schiff pledging not to allow Trump's attorney general pick to go through until our attorney general of DC pick go through full stop. It's some good shit. Some good shit. We did not win seats, but if this overperformance is carried out in 26, we win 100 seats, 100 more seats. Yeah, like that's the thing, right? The biggest thing that we won today is that a lot of Republicans are going to be looking for ways to break from Trump in an effort to keep their seats in the midterms. And that's the kind of break we need to see inside the Republican Party. Okay? 50% threshold finally passed. And Susan Crawford's still up by 15 points. I definitely think she's got this in the bag. Let's go! Calling it for Susan Crawford. Let's fucking go!
That was some weird shit.
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
There we go. I didn't mean to click the weird shit button. I wanted to click the aroused button. We picked a good time to raid in. You did indeed. Welcome, raiders. I'm so aroused. NBC News Decision Desk has called the Wisconsin Supreme Court race for Susan Crawford. Let's fucking go. Wisconsin won't be bought, motherfucker. Not today, Elon Musk. Hello, Lucy Hayes. Susan is going for a blowout here. Wisconsin elections are usually 1 to 5%. Yeah, I mean, it really does seem like the shift has been by a similar margin to what was shifted in Florida with Josh Wheel's race. So I think Republicans have reason to get really fucking scared. They are not safe in other parts of the country. It is not a localized shift. Fascism is all about fear and the image of power. Break the image. Fascism scrambles to regain it. Hope this is the start of the fall. I mean, it's at the very least the start of actual people in our government resisting, or people in elected office resisting, I should say. Ophelia, thank you for the $5 Canadian. Appreciate it. Yes, Andrew S. Great point. Thank you to all the phone bankers, postcard writers, those of you who called your representatives, those of you who donated to the campaign, those of you who knocked doors. I know we had a bunch of you in here, and you guys made a fucking difference. This is why you have to get involved, folks. You gotta get out there. It's so important because you can win it. We will win. We will win. We won't rest. We won't rest. Chuck Schumer's such a silly guy. Did Dr. Jill Underly win for Wisconsin superintendent? I have no idea. That made my skin crawl. Good. Look, Chuck Schumer made it all happen. He made it all happen for the state of Wisconsin. It's because he didn't rest. Damn, spicy diarrhea. I will work on reducing the conviction in my Chuck Schumer impressions. Dragonfly is saying that Jill Underly did win. So that's cool.
250 postcards and 12 hours on the phones from me. I can do it again for whatever's next.
Hell yeah, sorry, you're blue. I don't know if there are any other special elections coming up right now on the horizon. Our next big mobilization is going to be April 5th for a day of protest and marching across the country. Indivisible and 5051 are putting those on. The other main mobilization point that we're going to see in the near future, aside from me continuing to pester you guys to call your representatives and tell them to do shit, it's going to be around the budget. Chuck Schumer kicked that can down the road. We're going to have to mobilize around that when it comes up again in September. And then after that, we are going to be organizing for the midterms, baby. Let's see. Elections are coming up in Canada too, so I've had to reduce me reaching out to my American friends to convince them to mobilize to focus on defeating Poilievre. I'm not sure what election law is like in
moms for
Canada.
Hitler Kinsey, that pig Schimmel, and that Nazi Elon out of our state. I am grateful to tears to everyone here who helped make this possible.
Hell yeah, may it be the beginning of a great future for the state of Wisconsin. You guys have been under the Republican thumb for goddamn decades now. It's about time you had some freedom to breathe easy. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Next mission in Wisconsin, retaking that state legislature. Okay? I'm not sure what Canada's election laws are like, but if there's any way folks in the States can get involved to like help out with electing people who don't suck in Canada and defeating Poilievre, or however you say his name, Paul, let us know. Thank you for caring about us. You're welcome. Superintendent of Public Instruction. Ooh, the superintendent, Jill Underly, is currently ahead by 10%, 49% of the votes in. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now it's down to 9%. Ugh. Guess we'll see how that goes. Poilievre? Okay. We call him PP. I can do that. I can do that 9 times. I gave someone a ride to the polls. It felt good at the time, and it feels even better seeing the results come in. Hell yeah. Polivare? Polivare? Okay. If you want to help, folks should create memes and TikToks reminding people that Polivare and Trump are buddies, as well as keep bringing it up in streams and such. Hell yeah. I can do that. Polivare looks like Great Value Millhouse. God. You know, seeing this at the top of the top of my Blue Sky feed, just as I'm like checking what's shaking, this feels fucking nice. Look at these good eggs. Let's go, folks. You guys, you literally protected abortion rights. You literally allowed women in Wisconsin to be able to have the autonomy to control their own bodies. It's a fucking huge W. We can still have nice things if we fight for it. This is a hell of a headline. What is this headline? Elon Musk pays voters, pours cash into $82 million Wisconsin race. Yeah, that is a fucking headline. Get dunked, you absolute ghoul. I fucking love Midwesterners telling big city rich assholes to go fuck themselves. Oh man, it feels good. So the protest in Madison, Wisconsin this weekend is going to be a party now? Hell yeah, I bet it's going to be great. Gonna have all the cheeses out there. They're literally saying he committed a crime. They did, but so I've been trying to figure out this story, right, about the Elon Musk paying voters, because I know that the state attorney general in Wisconsin tried to sue Elon Musk to stop him from doing that, but an appeals court allowed it to go through. And I believe the state Supreme Court said like they didn't have jurisdiction. So it seems like a case has to be brought by like a local attorney general. I'm not entirely sure what is going on with that kind of legal kerfuffling about this particular like unfolding case. I've been trying to like find other people talking about it, but the most I can find are some people speculating that like the state attorney general just didn't really have direct jurisdiction. I don't even care if it makes me a hypocrite. JB Pritzker is the only billionaire I will simp for. He's also probably as close as you can get to an ethical billionaire, considering he inherited his money. But like, still be better if he wasn't a billionaire. Dude should just give away all his wealth until he's at least a 999 millionaire instead of a billionaire, you know? Hey, Nick Leftist. Good news is actually still possible, everybody. As far as I understand, his lotto was just scam, so he technically didn't do anything wrong. I imagine nobody will want to go after him for just scamming. I mean, it is a very like let me be clear. It is incredibly fucking evil and illegal in this country to pay people to vote. Like, that's like, there's no question about that. I just don't understand jurisdictional rights in this particular case and why the appeals court ruled that like they couldn't stop him from doing it. So I'm like, because the pretense of it being like a lottery where they're just hiring someone to, you know, represent a they're hiring like two people to be spokespeople of a petition. Like, all of that seems bullshit to me. Also, apparently, the lady who won the $1 million, as we knew from the other day, the guy who won that $1 million was the head of the Wisconsin College Republicans. The woman who won that $1 million check works at a company founded by like a major Republican donor. So it was a scam. Yeah. It's just I'm not entirely sure why it's being allowed, other than like he's rich. It's because the laws are bad. Musk is thinly evading the law. The district judge refused to hear the case on an expedited timetable, so the attorney general appealed, and the upper court said the lower court had to rule first. Ah, I see. So is that case still going to go through? It just wasn't that the immediate relief could not be granted or would not be granted by the appeals court. So the lower court is still going to continue with that. If so, that's great. Now that we've won that election, I'm happy to give that time to go through. But the $100 thing, though? Yeah, my understanding was that the $100 was in exchange for signing a petition, and technically you can give people $100 to sign a petition, but it's a big difference between signing a petition and voting. I think they'll need to change it from a civil to a criminal matter. Yeah, my understanding was that it was put as a civil suit in order to stop the action faster. But since it wasn't stopped, yeah, you're probably right. They would want to change that to a criminal one. God, it'd be so funny if he was convicted as a criminal in Wisconsin and Trump couldn't pardon him. God, that would be so fucking funny. Let it happen. Let it happen, please. I've been so good this year. I've been a good girl. I deserve this. Yep, the AP has called it with an 11-point lead. Susan Crawford. 67% of the vote in. Hell yeah. No wonder Elon Musk today is desperately calling for the government to go after people who violate, who vandalize Teslas. Good job, everyone. I am so proud of all of you folks. WAPO called it for Susan. Let's go! Ooh, Jill Underley's race keeps getting closer. Now they're only separated by about 6.6%. That's not great. Doesn't Trump hate losers? Yes, but his hatred for losers is countered by his love of money. Yeah, the voter ID amendment in Wisconsin did pass, but understand that that was already law in the state. It's going to take it. Either way, you would have had to mobilize the actual voters in Wisconsin to oust Republicans and get rid of that. Instead, they'll have to have another statewide amendment in 4 years, 6 years in order to try and repeal that. But it does not affect Wisconsin in the near term. You don't think a criminal case will work in this case? I think Elon's going to say that he's just a spokesman for his PAC and he had no say in the giveaway and so therefore can't be tried for election fraud. But that's such bullshit. It's such transparent bullshit. It's crazy. Someone takes a chocolate bar out of a convenience store and they get riddled with bullets by police. But Elon Musk can literally funnel illegally millions of dollars into an election. And he can just be oh, I didn't do it. And everyone's just all right, I guess he didn't do it. It's honestly insane. So infuriating. The check doesn't have his name or anything. Yeah. It's also from America PAC and not him. At the very least, they could criminally prosecute America PAC. Anyway, congrats, everyone. We did it. Get fucked, Elon.
Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and Swishy streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics Nazis being plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. With the ball, Jack.